What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this, we have BBC Taken to the Cleaners by Abhijit Iyer-Mitra over a Pahalgam terror attack coverage. Um, Intrigued to see what he's got to say about and I'm intrigued to see how the BBC covered this. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into this. If you guys enjoy, please don't forget to subscribe, get a video a thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit that join button to receive your exclusive benefits. I definitely want to send my prayers and condolences to all the victims and the families of the victims in that Pahalgam terror attack. That was absolutely awful. Terrorism is truly, truly evil, and they deserve to face the most extensive punishment imaginable because I don't know, that just infuriates me. But let's dive in.
It's not just biased coverage, it's outright Pakistani coverage.
Oh
You see, the
wow.
thing about the BBC is the entire operational levels are not just Pakistanis, they're overwhelmingly Mirpuris. It's become a sort of, an employment scheme, a nepotism employment scheme, specifically for
Dang.
Mirpuris, which come from a part of, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, who were displaced in the 60s by the Tarbela Dam.
So it's not. So in the BBC, what he's saying is that there's a lot of Pakistanis actually working there, and so the coverage that they give is not going to be just biased, but it's going to be completely like that Pakistan's going to cover it the way they want it to be seen, right? They're not going to cover it how it is, but the way they want it to be seen as. Um, I didn't know that, so I thought BBC is like British, right? And is he saying there's a lot of Pakistanis working for it?
So they run the entire editorial agenda at the
Oh
BBC, and this isn't
wow.
surprising. We've actually been asking, I think the notice is a bit less. We need to shut down all BBC offices and ban the BBC out here. In fact, my complaint is this is a bit too little. We should have done a lot more. Look, that's
Mm.
fine. I mean, the Indian administered Kashmir isn't my issue right now because these are terminologies. The Canadians, for example, neither the leader of the opposition nor the prime minister there even acknowledged that the attack happened in India. They said in Kashmir, right? So that isn't the issue. The issue
Yeah.
is the slant of the coverage and the way Pakistani talking points are being repeated. This is a very common thing. It wasn't just the BBC, it's also the Washington Post and the New York Times that have
Wow.
adopted this. Uh,
That's insane. Like my thing is America. What I thought that we were trying to create a better relationship with India. It felt like that partnership was coming along, was progressing, the relationship was good, and I thought we were trying to strengthen it. So why are news outlets reporting it in favor of Pakistan? Reporting the attack in favor of Pakistan. I I don't really get that. Y'all talk to me in the comment section.
which is perfectly fine. You know, it is their editorial policy on who they want to call militants or terrorists. My issue is why allow them into India? Why do we have people who are sympathetic to terrorists who are allowed to operate in India, most probably acting as intelligence gathering sources for
Mm.
them? Why is it that Indians are allowed to write for the Washington Post, New York Times, and go on the BBC and give commentary without facing criminal charges in India? See,
Huh.
this is a very straightforward thing which we should not be allowing. There have to be penalties for this kind of thing. This is
God
direct.
dang. Hey, my boy just said, hey, we need to stop anybody who got bad media coverage towards or who favor Pakistani or who were hypocritical in their coverage of us should not be allowed in India. And if it's Indians favoring Pakistan or giving us absolutely terrible news coverage that does not display the truth, then they should be punished for that. They should not be allowed to do. He ain't playing no games. He like, hey, y'all gonna tell the truth or y'all gonna face punishment.
Aiding and abetting of terrorism.
I
They
feel
can go
that.
very far. Remember, they're not driven by Indian concerns. They're driven by the concerns of the domestic Pakistani electorate in Britain.
Mm,
That is who they answer to the point where, and that lobby is a very strong lobby. Remember, they got the British Parliament, which is facing an economic crunch, to actually fund an international airport in Pakistan this time round so
really?
that they could have better connectivity out there. That's a very, very powerful political lobby that comes out and votes. They show up regularly, they riot on demand, so they provide both carrots and sticks on demand. So the BBC responds to that. That is why it is a clear and present national security threat. You know, PTV is banned, but you can think of BBC essentially as being PTV Channel 2. So it's not a liberal publication, it's essentially a Pakistan.
I'm guessing PTV is Pakistan TV, and he said you could think of BBC as PTV too, because that's what it basically is. Dang, I didn't know Pakistan and the UK were like so tight. Like this is my first time hearing about this. I didn't know the relationship was so tight between the two countries. I understand he's saying there's a lot of Pakistanis that work at the BBC editorial section, so they get to kind of flip stories, how or spin stories however they want to spin them. But that's kind of shocking.
Pakistani hard left publication, in that it's only probably slightly to the right of the British Communist Party. Other than that, it has no. I mean, it doesn't even have credibility left anymore. I would point you to the number of inquiries that have happened in the BBC, which have found that their coverage has been completely slanted. They had to
Dang.
apologize for their coverage of the Hamas attack on the 7th of
Oh
October to Israel,
wow.
which found a huge amount of deviations even from their stated policies on calling out things, right? So the BBC, we need to understand, is it is peddling a certain agenda. This is not a British agenda at any rate. It is the agenda of a particular electorate within Britain. It is a hostile, unfriendly organization. And the sooner we see it as that, the better for all of us.
God dang. Yeah, so it look like the BBC cannot be trusted to give fair news. And I feel like in this day and age, in this world, there's very little news outlets that are going to report the absolute truth without being biased. And unfortunately, the BBC ain't one of them. Y'all talk to me in the comment section. What do you think? Do you agree with him about the BBC being more so pro Pakistani, being more so anti India? It kind of sounds like, and having a lot of Pakistan workers in the BBC. Like I did not know about that, but y'all talk to me in the comment section. Let me know how you feel. If you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe, give a video a thumbs up. Check out the next. I'll see y'all next time.